So I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself, but I also want to talk about leadership. So first, kia ora. And that's about the limit it goes at the moment. And the Yorkshire accent, anybody having a problem, anybody from Yorkshire can do the translation, okay? So first and foremost, I come from an Irish immigrant family to the UK. All the women, well, actually young girls in that family over many generations had children between the ages of 14 and 17. I'm the black sheep of the family. I had my children when I was in my 30s. My father is Irish, my mother is from Yorkshire. So I don't see myself as British, I see myself as a Yorkshire Irish person. Anybody who knows about tea will get to understand that. But I definitely broke the mould. I grew up in a house that was condemned unfit for human habitation at the age of 10, and I became homeless at the age of 18. I stand here having just left a job running the largest local authority in Western Europe. So this is about how do we shape ourselves and how do we think of ourselves. So I want to talk about first impressions. First impressions of Christchurch. First impressions of people. Your first impressions of me. Because I've spent my life being on the front page of your newspapers. And we won't talk about today except for the fact that I don't agree that they talked about my children. Yeah? So, my first impressions. So, incredibly welcoming. Even when I have to have translation services because I'm getting old and my hearing's going, but that's a bit of a challenge. The most amazing sense of humour. It feels like I'm in Monty Python land, and that's great. Absolutely love it. A real individualism. Individualism runs right the way through, and a real sense of community and family, which really sits with my values. But what about the other side of that? Everybody has an opinion about every bloody thing. It doesn't matter where you're from, you've got an opinion on it, and believe it or not, you like to tell the local authority. And God forbid if there's a fact get in the way of rumour, conjecture, prejudice. That's far more interesting, isn't it? And talking. It's a city that likes to talk. Talk a lot. Talk about it for a very, very, very long time. But the question I ask this room is, but what about the doing? Where is the change drivers? What is it that we're really about as a society, as a place, as a set of communities, and as leaders? Because I think there's something here about good. When we reach good, that's okay. I'm sorry, not where I'm from, and I mean where I'm personally from. It's got to be there. If we don't keep reaching for there, we stagnate, we stop, and we go backwards. So I'm a not half full person, I'm a very 3/4, 8%, 90% full person. And I need to do a job that creates that in Christchurch, and I believe that's absolutely possible. Because if we don't, we remain to be held back. This city, from an outsider looking in, has all the ingredients to be exceptional. It's the second city of New Zealand. But do we think that way? Do we distill that out into our sub-region, into South Island, across New Zealand, and equally importantly, internationally? And I certainly, where's that young lass gone? I wish I'd been like that when I was 12, because that was phenomenal. But we have to realise that full potential. So, what would I say? For somebody who came from nothing to stand in the House of Lords to talk about the impact of social mobility, everybody has it in them. But this place can only grow. It's a community that changes the city. It's everybody's job, not just one or two individuals. And I will be taking names, okay? Because I'll come find you. But there's one really important thing I'd say that is last. I am not a female leader. I'm a woman, but I'm a leader. And I think we need to think about that.